Hello, gorgeous seekers, and welcome to Moon Magic and the Aquarius full moon. This is one of my favorite moons of the whole year, any year, given year. Generally speaking, I love the full moon in Aquarius. It is such an illuminator. It is such a seeker of new ways of doing things, looking at things from a new perspective. I might be partially drawn to this moon being a Leo. This Aquarius full moon is always kind of a opening for me personally and for anybody with strong Leo or Aquarian energy to seeing things in a new and fresh perspective. But I would say that because Aquarian energy is going to be so important for us starting at the end of this year and moving forward for quite a while, a full moon in Aquarius like this is a really great opportunity for us to check in with where we are going and to focus a little bit more on what now. What now? That's the big note that actually came up with me as I felt through this full moon in Aquarius. That question, what now? Another couple of notes that came up in bold letters when I was writing out what was feeling through for me was seeing beyond and observing. So let's talk about all of the details of this moon, why it has some of these themes going on, and how to work with an Aquarian full moon so that it feels enriching to you and it feels like something that is empowering and not something that's overwhelming or agitating or scary, right? So let's talk through it. This full moon is happening on August 3rd. It is happening at 11 degrees of Aquarius. So we have the moon at 11 degrees of Aquarius. We have the sun at 11 degrees of Leo. This is a really powerful time of the year in the sun's progression through the signs. Being here in Leo, it's very, very strong. So there's a lot of power already in this moon, just in its opposition and in its conversation. And it's also, here's the big ticket item for this moon. The thing that's happening is that it is squaring Uranus. Both the sun and the moon are almost perfectly squaring Uranus at 10 degrees of Taurus. So if you have a lot of fixed sign energy, I'm one of those people, and I know there are a lot of you out there who, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, or Taurus, if you have any of those signs strong in your chart, this moon is probably going to feel quite impactful and pretty intense and very clarifying for you. So just keep that in mind if you're working with fixed sign energy, because this kind of square opposition conversation is lighting it all up. Uranus rules Aquarius, right? So not only do we have the moon shining bright, illuminating, closing out, having us coming to terms with anything that we have been growing or shifting into, but it's also squaring the ruling planet Aquarius in Taurus. And this square is about challenging norms, right? It is about challenging who we've defined ourselves as, how we have done things. It is about challenging patterns. It is about challenging what we have been sustaining in our lives, what we have been doing and repeating over and over again. And it is about challenging sitting and looking at the past over and over again. Of course, it's important to come to terms with our past, to understand why we've done something or why we have had a pattern, and to be honest with ourselves. But this moon is really interested in what now? What next? What are we going to do now that we have accepted what has come to pass? What now? That's the really big question. That is what Aquarian energy is all about. That's what Uranus energy is all about. It really wants to shake things up and get it moving forward. It wants to innovate. It wants to find new solutions. It wants to look for the next opportunity. It wants to look for the next opening to bring the process forward. And a square like this is quite electrical. It's quite talkative. It's quite it can be a little agitating, I think, to work with a square like this, with Uranus and a full moon in Aquarius and the sun moving through Leo. This can feel agitating. It can feel like you're in the wash machine and it's the agitation cycle where we're getting all the dirt and the soap mixing and going, right? It can feel a little bit like that with a full moon in Aquarius. I'll admit it. I'm going to admit it. Like, let's not pretend that this isn't a charged full moon that's really looking to shift things around and have us looking at seeing beyond what is familiar. And that is really what I'm getting to here with all of this. We all have patterns. We all have identities, labels we've given to ourselves, ways of solving problems that we have relied on most of our lives. All of us have this, right? We have this in the micro scale of what we do in our daily routines, in our weekly routines, and how we deal with conflict or how we see ourselves as empowered or disempowered. We do it in the collective with how we, work with our institutions and work with what we consider justice or injustice, right? These things are coming up to be reviewed at this time. I think we've already seen this theme, right? But this moon is really focused specifically on this. This is not about how we've problem solved in the past, how we've done things in the past, what has been a familiar pattern, right? We all like familiar patterns. We want familiarity, but familiarity doesn't always serve us. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's fine to have something familiar. Often familiarity, though, comes with an old pattern that's no longer serving, that doesn't innovate, that doesn't come up with new solutions, that doesn't come up with new ways of seeing. This electrical, agitated, squaring mood wants us to look and see, look for new colors in the universe, look for new ways of seeing a situation, look for new ways forward, and to really own that boldly. Right? Aquarian energy is also associated with humanitarianism, right? It has to do with the collective. It has to do with how we work together. And this opposition with the sun in Leo, which is about strong leadership, right? Strong, bold, powerful leadership. There's also a theme going on here about how we want to problem solve in our collective together. Right? How we want to work together. Aquarian energy is really cool because, it's often associated with this kind of alien type, free-spirited, seeing things from a different angle, a different lens, being able to see the world from outside the perspective of just being down here in the muck. And part of that gift comes with an ability to step back and release judgment around things and to look and really witness and ask what now. And that's the other note that came up is observe. This moon, it's challenging all of our assumptions. It's challenging all of our patterning. It's challenging what's familiar. It's asking us to see beyond. It's bringing up anything that we need to kind of accept that we need to find a new way to approach it, right? Which I love. I think that crystalline kind of ability to have something solved and understood is so valuable. Sometimes we just need that emphasis on, I can see this a new way and just problem solve using these new lenses, right? But one of the important things I would say with an agitated moon like this and really utilizing Aquarian energy is the ability to observe what's happening. And of course, you can observe that in your community around you. I really mean this, on our individual level. Observe what's coming up for you. Observe what you're noticing arising within you during this specific moon cycle, right? Because this is something that we can actively do. It's important for us to sit and observe ourselves. Observe what's coming up. Observe where we feel resistance. Observe where we're wanting to hold on to familiarity. Observe where we are afraid to allow new problem solving, new ways of doing, new ways of seeing come in, right? And it's a very natural thing to feel a little bit like, but I don't know how to do that yet. So maybe I will just put that over there and not go there yet, right? It's a very natural reaction. That's a very human body wanting to feel grounded and safe. So with that observation, with all this fire and air energy moving around, and you're in a shaken up Taurus, this is a really great time. If you are going to be observing, find a way to make your animal body, your nervous system comfortable so that you can observe from a place that feels like you're not your nervous system, your physical body isn't recognizing it as threat, as destruction, as run, there's a giant bear behind you, right? So it's really important to do that with all the electricity of this full moon. And, this is a moon that can sometimes be a little impulsive, a little hungry for change, a little hungry for action, a little hungry to pick up that phone and tell somebody your peace of mind. And that's why I think the observation is so important right now. Observe what it is that's wanting to roar forward in you and let it speak with you, observing, and see what's really going on behind the scenes. See what is really next. And the other theme here too, with the electricity and the agitation and the square and all of that, it is about seeing community and humanitarianism and the care that we have for each other as a source of deep fulfillment and of deep love, and that this is one of the pathways through which we find our greater selves, right? And so there are all these deep themes going on with this moon. I'm working here at shuffling my deck so we can pull one beautiful card for this conversation. One other note as I'm feeling through the deck here is that we have another opposition in the sky. It's not just the sun and moon. Over in Capricorn, Saturn is at 27 degrees of Capricorn, and Mercury is at 27 degrees of Cancer. And these two are having their conversation, self-parenting conversation, right? And this can feel a little challenging when it comes to communicating, feeling like your voice is heard, feeling like you're being understood. And I honestly think, once again, that this is just a moon to not worry about making other people understand you, making other people understand maybe how you're trying to problem solve or how you're trying to see the world. This is just about coming to greater understanding within yourself, coming to greater understanding about this big process, and just listening in. The sun came out. I love that. This is Leo season after all. This is the full moon of Leo season, and the sun is one of the cards that navigates this moon a little bit. But to really observe everything that's coming in and to really listen and hear it, right? It can be really addicting to analyze, and this is an Aquarian quality, to be honest. The analytical mind is very strong in Aquarian energy. It's very tempting to think out loud and think, and fill your head with a lot of thoughts and dialogue. And, this is why meditation is so often suggested, and why there's so many tools around mindfulness, because it's about quieting that voice down that's always talking and coming up with the narratives, and hearing what's really going on underneath. And generally speaking, that guidance will be guiding us toward unfamiliar solutions, new colors, new ways of connecting to ourselves, our identities, who we are in this world, letting go of the familiar, leaving behind the shore of the familiar, and being ushered into the shore of the unfamiliar. But also, this is the way we get solutions for what we need next on the collective and individual level. This is the way forward. Now, the sun, there's a message coming in here about this. Yes, we've been talking a lot about Aquarian energy, but like I said, this is a moon happening in the heart of Leo season, and that's important too. The gift that Leo energy can give us right now, the gift of the sun transiting through a really powerful part of its process, our communion with the sun right now is really strong in Leo. It's quite powerful. The magic it can give us is Leo energy is so associated with the child. The sun card is about a small child riding a horse with no clothes on, being free-spirited, right? Just riding in the glory of life. And the message there is all about being willing to be in that childlike wonder and awe of what is next and what is new. When we are 5 or 6, Most of the world is wondrous and new. It's a big imagination landscape. And I think this is one of the things I love about the Leo-Aquarius axis. If you've spent any time with any Leos or Aquarians in your life, you will know that this is a very imaginative group of people who love to just play with ideas, see what happens, and play make-believe. Right? And play with a world that we don't always just see immediately in front of us, very much like children play. And this moon is asking for us to go there. It's so easy to harden ourselves right now and to say, well, there's no way out of this. There's this gripping down on some really heavy, negative, dark power structures that we are seeing loud and clear. I mean, they've been around. They're not completely new. However, they're roaring very loud right now. They are making themselves known, right? It's very easy to harden ourselves at this time and to want to put the armor on and to make ourselves condensed down into something that can survive. And this moon, even though it is electrical and agitating and a little bit, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. Like I said, take good care of yourself, ground if you can. It's also inviting us to open our hearts to the creative aspect of problem solving, to the creative aspect of imagining the world we want to live in, to the creative aspect of letting ourselves tap into that, letting ourselves learn those new skills, letting ourselves become those new people, letting ourselves explore the unfamiliar. Recently, I've been really working with this idea of worthiness during the learning process. So often we don't think we're actually worthy of learning or becoming something new. We say, oh, well, I'm not allowed to change how I do things. I'm not allowed to learn that new thing because I'll probably be bad at it. I probably won't understand, and it's probably too late for me. So I'm not worthy of learning or changing or growing or going to something unfamiliar. And this moon is a huge invitation to say, of course you're worthy to explore that and imagine that and open your heart to that. Of course you're worthy of doing that. The power of all of us doing that during this full moon and just in general over time. Think about if all of us are opening our hearts to a vision of the world where we have justice, where we have real safety, where it's unacceptable to attack people, and where there is support for others and for each other. What a powerful practice, right? And if it's something that's going on more on your own individual personal level, because we each have that layer too going on within the context of social revolution and social illumination at this time, which is so powerful. We each have our own individual things going on. This is also a time to just see those individual solutions from that creative point as well. So if you're wondering about that opportunity, wondering about that relationship, wondering about that plan that you had, this moon can also usher in creative, fun ways of seeing it from new perspectives and seeing new solutions coming through. So it's not just the micro or the macro, it's both, and you may be working through one or other of these aspects during this moon. I have a feeling a lot of you will be working through both layers. So once again, take your time, observe, allow yourself to see and listen. Just, let yourself be open to the information that wants to come in. Don't worry about supplying the narrative for this full moon. Allow yourself to be entertained by the information that wants to come in. Give yourself a few days around this moon. Not just like when it's exact and it's happening. Give yourself a few days around this moon to feel through all of this, to allow it to give you the information you need, to let it give you the clarity and the creativity. Don't be in a rush. There's no need to rush. Fixed sign energy is not about the rush. It's about what we want to sustain in life. It's about what we want to build in life. It's about what we want to create over time when we keep showing up. So there's an invitation here. But I do love that the sun is our friend here today, inviting us to remember to play in all the seriousness that can sometimes feel as though it's surrounding us at this time. I will be going even deeper on this moon over on Patreon. We do an activation. I normally do some kind of visualized practice together with my patrons, and we have a really great time. So if you're interested in extra support, I will leave my Patreon link below. You can also find me on my website and my Instagram at SarahVerba. I would love to see you in either of those places. And you can find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop. She's doing jewelry, she's doing these beautiful crystals that catch the light. There's all sorts of amazing things over there, so I will leave her link below as well. I'm sending you all so much love for this Aquarius full moon, and also sending love to my Leo family as we navigate this very powerful and interesting Leo season. I love you all so much.